Welcome everyone to a very unique episode of the Theatre Thoughts podcast. We are chatting with not one, not two, but three of the amazing cast members of Jagged Little Pill, which is currently playing at the Theatre Royal in Sydney until the 11th of September. So I'll introduce them one by one. We'll start with a singer-songwriter who grew up on Australian TV in Young Talent time, actually. They featured on the 2018 season of The Voice under the mentoring of Joe Jonas, made it all the way to the finals. He has recently collaborated with DJ Tiger Lily and releases his own singles on Spotify and YouTube, and was also in the touring production of Fangirls as Harry, and is now playing the role of Phoenix in Jagged Little Pill. Please welcome AYDEN. Hello.
Thanks,
hello.
guys. How good to be here.
Excellent. It's just kind of forgot it was like a podcast for a second.
Yeah, right. I was about to walk out on stage and there's like 100,000 people are like, thanks, guys. How are you doing tonight?
Excellent. With our next guest, we have a graduate from the Queensland Conservatorium. Jagged Little Pill actually marks his professional debut. Other productions include Legally Blonde, Les Miserables, and Grease. He also has his own production company, The Head Bros, for which he writes, directs, and produces for. And he also performed as a dancer in Baz Luhrmann's recent hit film Elvis, and is playing the role of the eldest of the Healy children, Nick, in Jagged Little Pill. Please welcome Liam Head. Yay! The crowd goes wild. Excellent. And then last but not least, we have a performer who has performed at Orlando's Disney World with her theatre school and performed on the Enchantment of the Seas cruise ship throughout the US. Her stage experience includes performing for the Starlight Children's Foundation, and while studying musical theatre at Centre Stage, she was offered the opportunity to audition for Jagged Little Pill and is now playing the role of Bella in her professional debut. It is Grace Miell. Welcome everyone. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank
you.
So I was overhearing like your little conversations before, but how is it all going?
Swell. Terrific. Good to be back in Sydney. It feels like we're kind of home again after starting up in Sydney last time, having a quick holiday with the family to Melbourne, and now we've come back to Sydney. No, yeah, it feels nice. Feels good. Yeah. Nice.
And what's it like performing at the newly renovated Theatre Royal? Because I remember when I saw you guys when the first time you were in Sydney, I was gobsmacked at the theatre. It was gorgeous. So what's it like performing on there?
Yeah, look, it's really nice. It's really nice. It's a lovely space. So it's nice to be able to kind of like, you walk up to the front door and it looks all fancy smancy and shit. So like it's a really nice space to play the show, and it fits the show really well. Like, with the space in the dressing room space, and like looking out into the audience, it's just like, I don't know, the energy feels really well in this space. So I mean, yeah. I think you just said space 6 times. It's a lovely space.
Wait, you didn't mention the backstage.
Oh, actually, backstage space
is good.
The right top notch, is it?
Oh, compared to Melbourne, when we were in Melbourne, it was like corridors, like little hallways to fit in like all of the props, beds, everything extra. And it was like, there were things like dangling from the roof, like chairs and bed frames like dangling from the roof in the theatre in Melbourne. But everything in Sydney just sits perfectly side stage.
Wow, okay.
You had to have the bed like on the side in the wings for it to go through. Like, you couldn't just have it sitting there. Yeah, it was tight.
Wow.
But in Sydney, however, just roll that baby on.
Excellent. Gotta love that. I wonder if that's because Sydney doesn't have like as many theatres as Melbourne, or like we only have like, well, we've got the Capital, we've got the State, we've got the now Theatre Royal, whereas Melbourne, I guess you have a few more, and they're maybe a little bit older. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, definitely probably a bit older.
Definitely heritage. Yeah, quite a lot.
So let's talk about Jagged Little Pill then. It is what's the word I was going to say? It's a musical for our times, I suppose. It's one of the first productions outside of Broadway. Obviously, it's comprised of Alanis Morissette's hit music. I guess one of my friends explained it as a jukebox musical, but it's not a jukebox musical. And I was like, oh, okay. and when you actually go and see it, it doesn't actually feel like one of those stereotypical jukebox musicals, even though it's all Alanis Morissette's music.
Yeah, definitely not. I feel like when people think of jukebox musicals, they think like, oh, you know, it's going to be like one of those, it's not, the story doesn't hit very hard. It's like, maybe it's a comedy or like, you know.
Sorry, Aiden, just remember this is a podcast. And so people won't understand this.
Aiden just did some jazz hands for us, just so yeah.
I just did jazz hands. Like, I talk in my hand, so it just kind of helps me know where I'm going. Like if I do little gestures. So guys, just imagine that I just crossed my legs, both hands out to my sides, shook both of them in jazz square style. And, yeah, like people, you know, if they see a jukebox musical and you think it's going to be maybe a bit of a comedy, a bit of like a, you know, a bit of a joke show, like you go there for, you know, just a bit of a laugh.
Yeah.
Whereas Jagged's kind of the opposite, even though all the songs are from an album that is very well known across the world. Like it's kind of the opposite. The story is something people don't expect. It's very hard hitting, very, very current. And it kind of tackles the problems that, you know, a lot of people have to deal with in today's society. So I think it's, it's not really what people expect. And most people leave the show saying, holy, like that is, you know, that is very different to what I was coming here thinking I was going to watch, like when you hear an Alanis Morissette musical. So, it's not a traditional jukebox is I think a good way to put it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And you're right. When you're sitting there and you're watching it, like it does take this turn that even I was sitting there going, whoa, okay, I did not expect this. And it's so powerful as well. And Grace, especially in your role as well, very powerful, emotional, heavy hitting role.
Yeah, she is.
Well, actually, this might be the perfect time to just give us a brief rundown of who you're playing in the show.
So I played Bella Fox in the show. Bella is friends with Liam's character, Nick. Basically, she's a 17-year-old student. She's like she's a cool girl, doesn't really like hang out with other girls. She hangs out with the boys. But then something really tragic happens and her story kind of navigates and flows through a lot of the other lead roles storyline as well, which I didn't clock that at first when I was reading the script, but Bella's story really influences a lot of what kind of unfolds within the Healy family, and it leads to all the explosions and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think she's a very important and powerful role for lots of young women to see, and all women to see, anybody to see, really, because I don't know, can I explain? Like,
it's totally up to you. Yeah, if you want to go into it, yeah.
Should I go into depth?
Do I go into? Yeah.
Okay. Well, like Bella was sexually assaulted by one of her, who she thought she was. Well, start again. She was sexually assaulted by someone who she thought was her friend, which is like a really common experience for a lot of young women or a lot of young people. But basically, that's what leads through everyone's storyline to MJ, Frankie's role. That's where her kind of trigger goes. But yeah, I don't know what the point was to that, but I was getting to something, and I forgot.
No, it's fine.
Important to know. It's important to know.
Yeah,
that's why.
And Liam, who do you're playing Nick, so the oldest of the Healy children.
Arguably the lead.
Yeah, arguably the lead.
Yeah, exactly.
Arguably lead.
No, here's a fun fact. So after the hallway scene at the start of the show, where Andrew, Bella, and Nick are together, and I talk about the Bella, Santa, and Amber Alert, I run off stage, I go to my dressing room, I get up my bag of chippies, I get a Zappo, I watch a full episode of Modern Family, and then I go back on stage for Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then I do the same thing in Act 2. So after Entourage, I go downstairs, like the very first thing in Act 2, I'm on stage for like half a second, and then I go up 20 minutes, and then I'm back on stage. Nick is a fun character to play. Nick is goody two shoes. Sings a song called Perfect because throughout his life he's always just tried to be perfect. He's tried to be the oldest. He's tried to be a spitting image of perfection. Everything that his mum and dad, mainly his mum, want from him. He understands the sacrifices that his dad makes in work. He works long hours, he works tough hours, he never gets to see his family. So he's wanting to capitalize and use all the money that is invested into him. He doesn't want it to go to waste. He's trying to make all these people proud. And so he ends up putting his mum and dad's / the family's view of him before his own life. Things like going to Harvard. I think Nick actually does want to go to Harvard, but I think he's got, at the moment, he's got like a skewed perception. He only wants to go to Harvard because his parents want him to go to Harvard, not because he wants to go to Harvard. Right. And all of these things, he's the leader of the swim team. Like all these leadership positions. He does charity work, cello lessons, just this buildup of pressure over his life amounts to Nick ends up, he was at the party where Bella was sexually assaulted. And he has the opportunity to do something, but because he's so interested about saving face, he has a choice. Does he say something or does he not say something? And that's kind of like Nick's big objective. No, well, what's the right word for that? Struggle, obstacle in the show. And that's, yeah. In the same way that Grace was saying, it's a great show for
young men to see like your character.
Well, women to see Bella's. In the same way, it's an awesome show, and I really care about specifically young male identifying people watching this show to see characters like Nick go through the struggle, because it could be so easy just to look away. It could be so easy not, because it's easy not to. That's the line in the show. So much easier not to. And what goes around never comes around to you. Lovely, thank you, AYDEN.
Beautiful.
I haven't warmed up.
No, but it's not doing anything, and it's important that we see the repercussions of that as well.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that's the exact thought that I had watching it. Was it is an important role because it's so easy to just look the other way and not say anything when faced with these situations. So AYDEN, you play Phoenix and you play opposite Emily Nakomo throughout the show. So tell us a little bit about you.
I play the character of Phoenix, and I often say that compared to a lot of the characters in the show, Phoenix is quite a light track in terms of things that he has to go through. Like, they lightly touch on some, problems that he has in his personal life. Like, he's got an absent father, and his little sister is sick, quite sick actually. Like, so he kind of is the man of the house at 16, like, looking after his sister, doesn't have much of a personal life, kind of keeps to himself. Is new in town, the new kid. And then when he meets Frankie, he kind of sees, I guess qualities that he doesn't see in a lot of girls that I guess he's met in moving around a lot. She's a bit of a bookworm. She's outspoken. She's strong. All these things that, Phoenix really, really, kind of, I guess, relates to. And it starts off quite innocent. He just likes the vibe of this girl, and then as time goes on, they spend a bit more time together, they start hanging out, they realize that they actually do have quite a lot in common, and there's kind of this weird connection between the two of them that neither of them can really explain, but they both love the feeling of being together. And I guess just the way I see it is it distracts. Sorry, I'm just getting emotional. It just distracts both of them from their own personal struggles. Whereas, Frankie having her own identity problems at home and Phoenix having his struggles at home, when they're together, they kind of forget about that and they just enjoy each other's company and lift each other up. There's a really nice saying that our director told me when, because obviously Frankie is also kind of partner with Joe, who is, incredible, Max McKenna. Love them. Joe and Frankie have like a connection together, and then Frankie meets Phoenix and they have a little spark. So it's really interesting where like there's a scene where both of us kind of on a swing set, and Leah said that the swing set kind of shows that when they're together they feel like they're flying, they feel like they're they're just spinning around, they're flying, they're free together. And maybe, you know, her relationship with Joe might be more grounded, more kind of set in the real world, whereas with Phoenix it feels like a fairy tale. It feels like they're just everything else, which I try and really think about every night before I go on the swings, because it's really easy to just forget and swing around and have fun. So yeah, I mean, I guess Phoenix is really here to kind of pose a I guess, like, what did you say, like an objective or a turning point for Frankie as well, like a choice to make, Phoenix or Joe. So yeah, it's interesting to see how he weaves into her story and weaves into Joe's story. Or neither. You know, really fun character to play. I love him very much. And yeah, that's just to keep it long, you know, that's about it. Keep it very long, that's about it.
And you obviously have a stellar cast with Nat, Bass, and Tim, and then, like you said before, Maggie as well. So how do you guys all mesh together? Like, is there things...
We hate each other.
You must hate each other. You have to.
Spending this much time together, it's horrible.
Button heads.
Yeah. Was there any like kind of funny like mishaps or things that you guys have done that have just brought you all closer together as a cast?
Well, Nat and Tim have every night where, what song is it? What song is it in? Nat and Tim, when they're off stage. Is it Wake Up?
And they're like dancing to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wake Up.
Yeah. So there's a bit in Wake Up where they see each other off stage in the wings, side stage, and looking at each other. And over time, it's gotten like bigger and grander and grander. Like it started maybe at like doing a floss or something, and Tim's like, "Haha, that's funny." And the next time Tim does like
his dance move,
like a dance move, like a Vogue dance or something. And then like I remember at Melbourne opening, Tim brought in this massive Olaf costume or something.
It was
snow. Elmo, yeah. Like massive. So he was wearing Elmo side stage, and then Nat tries to one up. Yeah, it's funny.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
We have too many. We have two, like there's so many. This cast, honestly, we've just kind of gotten so close through all of the like. Obviously, we put the show on during COVID, so it you know, there was a spike. A lot of people got COVID. We ended up having to. Oh no, we didn't close the show because of COVID. Like the show ended as we all got it. So then, you know, like we all isolated over Christmas. We had COVID. So we've kind of just bonded together through the absolute like chaos of this show that goes on behind the scenes with people off and people hurting themselves. Like it's very intense and very demanding, this show, physically, mentally, vocally, like the whole shebang. So there's a lot of chaos. Our swings have kind of saved our asses, you know, too many times to count.
I think Romy was on like 80% of shows or something like in Melbourne.
I think she said yesterday. Yesterday was our 100th show, and I think she said she'd done like 70.
Yeah. And she's our swing. That's
wow.
Yeah. So just like, we've kind of all just formed this like bond connection that we're all just like so tight. We're all so like,
we're in tune with each other.
Very in tune. I don't think we'd be able to put the show on if we weren't as connected with each other when we go out onto that stage. Because the amount of times we've had to do things like that, you know, are borderline, not unsafe, but like unsure, people in different roles, people in roles they've never done before, automation not moving, but like we're also like this. Like the one funny thing that happened in the first Sydney run in All I Really Want, which is arguably like the most physically demanding show, the most physically demanding number. The automation didn't move, so like the screen didn't move and the platform didn't move. We do this spinning dance number. We're all doing insane choreo around each other. Liam doesn't know what that's like because he's watching Modern Family at this moment.
Too busy on stage.
Me and Grace are like absolutely giving everything on that stage in this number, and the automation didn't move, so we're all like running and doing dance moves and stuff up on top of the platform, down on the platform, like when we're supposed to be just on the stage.
It was the giving the eyes to each other, being like
what do we do?
Is it going to stop? Is it going to be a curtain down? I don't know. Okay, just keep going.
And we just kept going. So we danced the whole number in the wrong automation, like over the top of the little platform and where the table's on and the screens didn't move. So we're going around the screens and stuff like, and we're all just in that moment kind of like clicked and we're like, all right, guys, like same train of thought. It was just unbelievable. And we had some swings on that night too that, you know, so it was just big chaos. And honestly, the moment where all could have gone wrong. And despite the circumstances, nothing went wrong post that. So it was like, yeah, we're just very in tune. We're very good at looking after each other.
I remember this one time during Wake Up when the same kind of
screens
thing
didn't
happened.
move. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
No.
I was on the bed, and it's not his fault, but I was on the bed, and AYDEN and Jerome grab the bed and pull it back. But the screens were kind of like where the bed was supposed to be. And I remember being on the bed and I turn around and I see the screens and I kind of just like look at AYDEN out of the corner of my eye. And AYDEN and I just kind of like lock eyes and we just start laughing.
And then I'm looking at Jerome because the sliders should be gone, but the sliders are literally the size of the bed. So if we move a little too far either way, it's like, we've hit like this multi-million-dollar piece of technology that's like important to the show, and we're all just kind of eyeballing each other on stage being like, what is happening, like how are we going to do this, like chaos, like fear, and then
it's such an adrenaline rush though, like as soon as we all get off after something like that happening, everyone's just like, whoa, that's
that's live theater, like that's why people are coming to watch it live, like on stage, because it's happening in front of that.
Yeah,
and it's exciting. And it's that adrenaline for the audience as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I love theater. It's just because it's that adrenaline rush. Like I haven't had anything to the standard of that, but even just in like small community theater shows, you still have mishaps and that. I remember one time, not to like feel like I've done the same thing you have. we were doing Spamalot, and we had to have the night of Who Says Me on, like, make him really high, and we had him on this box with his coat going over the box, and we had someone behind him pushing him on and off. But one of the wheels broke on the box one night, and he was standing there going, "Oh, I'm the knight who says me," and he's just like kind of trying not to fall off it, and then eventually he does fall off it. I'm on stage as Sir Robin, just watching this happen in slow motion. He jumps off the box and you see these little sets of legs kicking behind him, trying to come over the box and come around the outside and take it off. It was one of the funniest things.
Holy crap.
I love that.
Have you seen the show?
No,
it's really funny.
I love Spamalot. It's so funny because I'm a big Monty Python person, so I just love it. But bringing it back to Jagged Little Pill, there's one number in the show that gets a standing ovation every single night. And when I saw it, it happened. And everyone who I've seen it, it happens. So I'd love it if you guys could give me your viewpoints on why Maggie gets a standing ovation every single night for you all to know.
It's the 5 o'clock number. It's like everything is built. There's been some really difficult scenes that have kind of happened before that. And it's like this big release. Also, they just unleash a weapon in themselves and like throwing their whole body into it. It's just, I think people like giving that standing ovation. It's just like, we commend you for going that hard. Like the song is so powerful, but when you're watching Max do that as well with their body, they're like throwing everything out. I think everyone's just like, they're really giving it. They're really giving it, and they deserve that.
Yeah, but it is like you're saying before, it is a team effort. Just thinking, why is
well, it is the effort of everyone as well. Like everyone, all the like ensemble conscience, they're also like backing Mags in that, and they're just going crazy as well. And even in our rehearsal process, it was nothing set. It was like 3 set jumps at the very end of the song, but otherwise, the majority of it is just improvised by everyone each night. And it's so cool to watch. I'm like, all of us will stay backstage. I know AYDEN and I were on the same side, and we'll be like, "Yo, you're watching Maria, you're watching this person," and you just go nuts. And the effort, and they all walk off like puffed. But it's so fun to watch. And when you just hear them, like Mags or anyone who's covering Joe's role, letting them rip in that song, it's just, it deserves every standing ovation ever.
Yeah, we all wear it. Like it's a culmination of so many things. The second act, especially compared to the first act, is so heavy, and there are so many things that happen. Heaps of tension. There's a wonderful scene with Bella and MJ where they kind of confide in each other a little bit, and Bella has this realization that things might not be as rosy as they hoped it might be. And then Nick relives some of the party, and then Nick and MJ fight for the first time in literally their entire life. And so there's all this tension building up. So in the rare occasion that the person playing Joe doesn't get his standing O, it's like we all wear that as well, because we all have a part to play leading up to that moment of release. And if we don't play it how we should, then the audience won't respond in the way that we know they can.
Right.
But it's in the same way when they do stand up. Like we all admire and respect what Max, Bays, Teo, Jarlasoon,
Gala.
yeah, we all respect what they're doing on stage, but we also get to wear a little bit of that as well. And we go, okay, great, we've done our job as actors and storytellers, and now we're at this point where we've released, and now we get the audience to release as well, and we get to step into the final stage of this show.
Yeah, you actually managed to get the only 3 cast members that aren't in that number. The only 3, like besides Nat and Tim, cast members that aren't a part of the, like, you know, the release number for the audience and kind of like the whole cast as well. Like they all just say it's so cool watching them all do it. But then it's also like that moment when me and Grace sit side stage, and I know we both kind of thinking, God, I wish I could just stand in the back there.
Do that.
Because they're all it's all just freestyle. They're all just doing whatever they like. You know, there's set things like stand here, stand there, stand there, stand there. But all of the dance and stuff, it's all just freestyle. It's all just release. So it, like even what Max, like what Joe does, whoever's playing Joe, it's nothing set. It's like set, like stand here at this point, stand here at that point, there at that point. But you connect the dots in between. If you want to smack the floor, if you want to do a double backflip, if you want to slap Frankie in the face, like it's very free. Like it's just whatever you feel in the moment and like how your show's going. If you're having a shit show, you can really get that out there. Like it just is so fun for what I can imagine for like the cast and for the audience to be like, finally, like, you know, holy, it's just been building and building and building and frustration. And it's just like, oh, like, you know, how can you not stand up after that feeling? Like, I can only imagine the audience feel the same, like the release, even though they're not a part of, like, you know, in the show, they're still a part of it. So like, it must just be euphoric when they're like, oh, finally someone said it. Like, you know, oh man, it's
such the perfect song as well. Like the perfect song choice. I love it.
That's how I feel in the show as well, though. Like I get to stand side stage and I watch everyone run on.
Overture.
Come see Jagged, everyone. But it's a bit where they're like, wake up. Oh, it's just so cool to watch. Everything.
So is there a part in the show that you each love, like your part that you look forward to every single night?
I love Head Over Feet personally. Like, it's one of my favorite numbers to play in the show because obviously it's the swing set moment I was talking about earlier where it feels like we're flying and all that kind of stuff. It's a bit of a, you know, release for Frankie and Phoenix. So that's one of my favorite moments, like, you know, for my character.
I'd say you learn. It's just so euphoric and just nice to thing and just have fun on stage. It also, like, I thoroughly enjoy performing, but also means like the end of the show and like it's just that accomplishment.
Get to go home and eat.
Can't wait.
Knock off time.
No. But it's like this. You're able to be proud of the work that you've done on stage. You're able just to leave it behind and step into whatever's next. So it's nice. I like that part. Tick.
And Grace?
I reckon mine would be no. I think because it's making such a political point, which we love, but I feel like that, like it feels very empowering to do at the end of the show, I think.
Yeah,
that was probably one of my favorite ones. Huh?
With our signs and just kind of yell at the audience, like,
Yeah.
So after Jagged, what's I guess what's next? What do you got? What do you have on the horizons? Do you guys have anything that you're dying to do or shows that you're like you want to come to Australia?
I'm going traveling.
Yes.
That's the first thing I reckon. Going on a nice holiday and then coming back and doing the good old self-tape auditions. I reckon.
Love that.
Yeah.
I'm going to work on my own music for a while. So I feel like I may take a step away from musicals for a little bit just to focus on some original music.
AYDEN, no, don't say that.
Don't
Yeah,
do
I'm
it to
sorry.
us, AYDEN.
I know. Like, you never know. If things come up, they come up. Obviously, I'm going to audition for everything I can. But on the forefront is I want to focus on my music, like priority number one. So I'm looking forward to that.
Streaming now, AYDEN. It's all streaming platforms.
All streaming platforms right now.
I will post that on the bio just so people can.
Too good to me.
I've got something coming out soonish. Something will be announced soon, which I'm very excited about.
Oh.
Yeah, but I can't really talk about it yet. Otherwise, I get in lots of trouble.
Yes, of course. What's the non-disclosure thing, isn't it?
I got some stuff planned, which is exciting.
How very exciting. Well, awesome. Well, I'm very conscious that you guys have to run off to a show. So we'll wrap it up. Thank you so much, all three of you, for jumping on the podcast. So you can catch AYDEN, Liam and Grace at Jagged Little Pill, which plays until the 11th of September in Sydney. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.